Peace, ladies. Welcome back to the Modern Goddess channel. As you can see from the title of this video, I am going to be giving dating and relationship advice to single mothers. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. Many of you are not going to like some of the things that I have to say in this video, but just keep in mind that I am genuinely trying to help, because even though I think it's wrong to overly glorify and overly encourage single motherhood, and I think it's selfish because you're really not considering the generations after you, because if it's something that's just so over glorified, they're not going to understand, you know, the dysfunction in it, and it's not going to stop this cycle of single mothers, which is something that we shouldn't encourage, right? But even though I'm not one to encourage it, I think it's wrong to bash single mothers and say, oh, you're going to just die alone, because it's just wrong and it's not helpful. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this. Let me know if it rings a bell. But in the real world, there's something called blended families and stepfathers. Let me know if you've ever heard of it. I know it's something that's unheard of on social media and like YouTube, but in the real world, I promise you it exists. Blended families come by way of a man with children of his own marrying a woman that has children of her own, and stepfathers come by way of a man that may or may not have children of his own marrying a woman that is a single mother. And so that's something that's actually very common in the real world. And so it's very possible for you to meet a man and build with and marry a man that will love you and your children. So don't listen to people that say that that is impossible. However, if you want a good man, ladies, there are some things that you're going to just have to keep in mind. And so that is what this video is about. Some of the harsh realities of it and some of the tough things that you're going to have to deal with, or some of the tough things that you're going to have to do in order to have a good man that is going to love you and your children. Okay, so let's get into it. Number one, you need to eliminate that baby daddy drama. No man wants to be in a relationship with a woman that has a bunch of issues with her ex or with the father of her children or child, okay? So oftentimes the drama comes by way of you trying to either force him to be in your children's lives, or when you try to keep your children from him, you know. So either y'all need to figure it out whether or not y'all going to be able to co-parent respectfully, or if he doesn't want to be in the child's lives, then that's just, don't try to force it. Just let it go. But when you are trying to force it, or when you are trying to keep the children from him, y'all are always arguing, bickering, going back and forth, and then you end up venting to your current man, and no man wants to hear you constantly putting that much thought and focus and energy towards another man. Even if what you're saying about him is negative, no man wants to hear you complaining about another man all the time. You know, you're giving way too much energy and thought into something that another man is or is not doing. And another thing about that is, if he is not completely over you and he's threatening you, he's trying to get his family back and all that type of nonsense, you need to take whatever steps that you need to take to handle that. If you need to call somebody to get him straight, if you feel like you need to get the law involved and get a restraining order, whatever you need to do something. But again, no man wants to get into a relationship with a woman that has some type of crazy baby daddy. He has to constantly look over his shoulder. You know, he puts himself in danger just by being in a relationship with you, you know. So you're going to have to eliminate that baby daddy drama. Either y'all have a good conversation or you need to get it handled some type of way. But that's a no-go. Number two, you need to make sure that your children are being raised properly and that they are disciplined. No man wants to be in a relationship with a woman whose children are just completely disrespectful, lazy, greedy, messy. They don't even respect you as their own mother, you know. That just looks like a bunch of extra headache that a man has to carry on. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're taking the time to discipline your children, to spend time with you, giving them the proper home training, teaching them how to have manners, all of that stuff. Because again, it can absolutely turn a man completely off to you if he meets your children and they're just running around like little wild banshees. They don't have any manners. They don't know how to speak to you. They don't have any chores. They're just just doing and saying whatever. It's a huge turn off. So make sure that you are properly raising your children and that you are instilling certain things into them and disciplining them. And that kind of ties into the third one. The third one is you need to accept his advice and guidance, especially if you are raising young boys. If he tries to help you discipline your children, you need to accept that advice. And that does not mean that if he's just your boyfriend or if you're just dating him, that you allow him to whoop your children or spank your children. That doesn't mean that he has complete authority over your children. But that means that as a man, he absolutely knows what a boy needs in order to become a man. So if you're always getting in the way of him trying to offer advice or guidance when it comes to disciplining your children or raising your children, and you're always just like, oh no, I didn't ask you for your advice, or no, I can handle it, you know, it's just going to make him feel like, well, I don't want to get into a situation where I don't have I don't have a voice over anything. I don't want to get into a situation where I'm not allowed to say anything to these children. That's going to make him feel less of a man. And so why would he put himself in a situation to feel less of a man? Okay. Also, if you are constantly not submitting to his advice or his guidance, especially when it comes to raising these young boys, understand that children are going to pick up on things like that. They're going to notice that. And so if they see you not listening and they see you not following, they see you not submitting to that, then they're going to feel like, well, we don't have to listen to him either. You know, that's going to give them more reason to be like, well, you ain't my daddy. You know what I mean? And you absolutely, that's not something that you want to put on him. Okay. So make sure that you are accepting that knowledge and that advice and that guidance when it comes to disciplining and raising young boys, especially. Okay. Number 4, do not talk about your children like you're ashamed of them, like you regret them, like they're a burden. This one is specifically for women that are dating. Okay. If you're going on a date and when you're talking about your children, everything about them is like, oh, I just need a break from them. Oh, they just get on my nerves. And everything that you're saying is negative when it comes to that, then that's going to make him feel like, well, why should I want to get in a situation where it's full of regret and it's full of burden? Okay. Now what you have to understand is when you marry someone, as a woman, the same things that you would provide for your children, you're eventually going to be providing those things for your husband, and vice versa with a man. The same things that he would provide for his children, he would eventually provide those same things for his wife, right? So if the things that cause you to be I'm just so tired, I just need a break, if it is providing emotional support or just being patient or cooking or just being nurturing, if those things just, oh my God, I just need a break, or they just get on my nerves, then in his mind, he might be thinking, okay, well, if she feels like that about doing these things for her children, then when I need emotional support, when I need nurturing, when I want a home cooked meal, you know, when I need patience, that's how she's going to feel towards me. It's going to be just a burden. It's just going to be full of regret and just, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? So don't talk about it like that. You know, be proud of being a mother if you're a mother. Be proud of your children's accomplishments. Be proud of being nurturing and the things that you do with your children. Be proud of raising decent little human beings if you are doing so. And if not, that goes back to what I was saying about raising your children properly. Make sure that you are doing that, okay? But you don't want to talk about your children as though they're a burden or some type of mistake, because that doesn't make a man want to be with you more. It just makes him feel like, okay, well, that's how she feels about it, then I definitely don't want no parts in that, okay? Number 5, now this one might be a little bit uncomfortable, okay? But listen, ladies, a mature man that has morals and they go by certain principles, he is going to look at your family and the environment that you were raised in, how your siblings turned out, what your mother is like, and he is going to consider that when it comes to his own child. So if he's considering having a child with you, he might think, okay, well, this is the type of environment that my child is going to grow up in. These are the type of people that my children are going to grow up with. These are the type of people that are going to be babysitting or watching my children, you know? So if your family is full of dysfunction, if your family is toxic, either you can try to encourage them to get therapy. Y'all can sit down and have little talks and, you know, do some real reflecting and try to heal together. Or you're going to have to cut some of those family members off. And honestly, ladies, this shouldn't be something that you're just doing in order to get a man. This should be something that you should do for your child anyway. If you know that your family provides a very toxic and dysfunctional environment and you're still dealing with trauma from it, you shouldn't want your children to go through it. But again, a man that might be considering having children with you or raising children with you is not going to want his children coming up in that environment. So that's something that you absolutely are going to have to consider. You're going to have to cut some people off. It might be your own mama, you know, it might be your sister. You're going to have to either try to heal together, do some therapy together, or you know, it's necessary, not just for the man, but for your baby and for your own mental health as well. Number 6, and this is a harsh reality, ladies. If you are a single mother, especially if you have more than one child, you are likely not going to find a man that's going to pay all the bills, you know what I mean? You will more than likely have to do a 50-50 type of relationship. You're more than likely going to have to work or something. But my advice is make sure you're making your own money. This is something that I advise to all women regardless of what, but especially to single mothers. You bring in extra mouths, that means more food. You bring in more bodies, that means more house necessities, more electricity, more water, you know, more rooms, you know, so a bigger home, more gas to go back and forth, to drop kids off and do, you know, it's just a bigger bill, okay? In my opinion, it's kind of selfish to ask a man who is not the father of your children to be the sole provider of you and all of your children. That's just wrong in my opinion. So yes, as a single mother, you would still need to work, make your own money. If you can, try to get a job where you can work from home or start your own business. But either way, it's more than likely not going to be the type of relationship where you can just lay around and just be cute and pretty all day and he just takes care of everything. If you have multiple children, it's usually not going to be like that. So make your own money. Number 7, you need support. You're going to need to be able to have a friend or a close family member or something that you trust with your child. If not, you're going to have to be okay with hiring a babysitter or a nanny or something, because you're going to absolutely need alone time with your man. He's not going to want to always be with you and your children. He's not going to always want to go out with you and your children. That doesn't mean that he doesn't care about your children. That doesn't mean that he doesn't love your children. That means he wants to be with you. That means he wants to spend quality time with you. Date nights are important. Intimacy is important. All of these things that help build the bond and the chemistry between you two are important. And it's not going to happen if every time the two of you together trying to get some quality time, your children are sitting right there and staring in your face and fingers underneath the door. And that is something that is important. If you're the type of mother that, you know, you just don't trust anybody to watch your children, then it's definitely going to be a challenge for you. You might want to wait for your child to get a little bit older before you even consider dating or anything like that. But you're going to need that support. You're going to need to be able to pay somebody to keep your children so that you can spend time with him every once in a while. That doesn't mean neglect your children, because I know some women that do that. Do not neglect them, but absolutely you're going to need to be able to make time for him. No man wants to be in a relationship with a woman that he never gets alone time with. He can't ever travel with her. If he wants to just do something nice for you and surprise you with a date night, you're never available because you don't have anyone to watch the children. So you absolutely need to make sure you have a reliable babysitter or nanny or friend or family member or something that you can pay to help you with that. Number 8, you want to make sure that you stay cute, ladies. Stay pretty, stay fit. That does not mean that you need to be a size 5. Not every woman needs to be a size 5. Not every man wants a woman that's like a size 5, you know, but you want to make sure that you are taking care of your body and still putting effort into your appearance. Oftentimes after women have children, they just kind of let themselves go. They just stop caring. They don't exercise anymore. The child is like 3 years old and they're like, oh yeah, this is baby fat. No, it's not. It's not baby fat. Okay. You have to take care of yourself. If a man had to choose between a woman that is attractive and that puts effort into her appearance, whether she does or does not have children, and had to choose between a woman that does not put effort into her appearance and she does have children, more than likely he's going to go with the first option. So you need to make sure you are doing your best to still look good. Eat healthy, get your rest, exercise, wear clothes that look good for your body type. You want to put in that effort. Do whatever you need to do to take care of that, because it absolutely makes a difference. Number 9 kind of ties into number 8 a little bit, and that is you need to make sure that you are properly taking care of your yoni. The reason why I say this is because after you have children, it's no secret that your walls are just not as tight as they were when you were like a virgin, okay? And not only that, when you're a mother, sometimes if you don't feel like cooking, you might buy like some of that cheap stuff that you could just put in the microwave, and that has a very negative effect on the inside of your body, which comes out through the yoni, okay? So you want to make sure that you are keeping everything fresh down there. You're doing your Kegels. You're not putting anything in there that is not supposed to be in there, okay? I'm going to eventually do a video for you all giving some yoni tips, but you want to make sure that you're doing the best you can to keep things looking good down there, smelling good down there, feeling good down there, okay? So take proper care of that, okay? And lastly, ladies, number 10, you never want to come off as needy or desperate, and you never want to try to force any man to be in your child's life. So if you're dating a guy and you're trying to put responsibilities on him that he did not ask for, that he is not ready for, it's going to run him away. No man wants to be in a relationship with a woman that is needy or desperate. So though you may need a role model for your children, you don't want to try to force that on him if it's not something that he's ready for. There are so many other ways that you can get a role model for your children. You can put your child in sports. You can look to the leaders in the community. They have coaches, they have pastors, they have Big Brother programs. There's so many like resources out there for single mothers that are raising children, and specifically young boys, okay? So these are 10 things that you need to make sure you are implementing or keeping at the forefront of your mind when you are dating as a single mother, okay? I really hope this helps. Happy Mother's Day to all of you, whether you be single, married, in a relationship, dating, whatever. Peace and much love.